electronic program guides called the information television channel, which is will be I talk about this. The previous speakers have been talking about a lot of new content which is going to come out on satellite, and many new satellite channels which are going to start operating across India over the next few years. The problem that causes for the viewer audiences is how to find all this content. You're going to have hundreds and hundreds of television channels, so how the hell do you find out what's going on? This is a particular problem for cable TV companies who are ramping up now to 50 or even more channels on their networks. And the way in which they let their subscribers know, some of the larger ones have got some perhaps feeble attempts to put together types of electronic program guides which are expensive to maintain, expensive to collect information. Smaller cable TV stations really just can't afford to do it at all and rely on sending out, in some cases, just printed material to their subscribers when they can, or they just don't bother to do it at all. About 4 years ago, when I was visiting Delhi, I had the opportunity to visit a number of cable TV stations here, and I saw how they were struggling to put together electronic program guides. At that time, I was living in New York, and I had the benefit of enjoying something called the Preview Channel, or the TV Guide, which is a passive electronic program guide, which is viewed currently in the United States by 50 million people and has been in operation for a number of years. And I thought, well, that would be interesting if we could offer something similar in Asia at an affordable cost. My background is in engineering, and I have colleagues who are also have developed a variety of products, particularly those broadcasting data over satellite. And we gathered together a team at that time in the UK to look at how we could serve the Asian market and produce a system and equipment which would allow us to deliver electronic program guides to cable TV stations all over Asia. Initially, we started off with designing an analog system whereby we delivered the data on what's called the vertical blanking interval of a TV signal. That's lines above the signal which are not used for the picture. And we designed a system around that. We were able to test it in this region, in the Philippines, where I'm based at a satellite teleport. We had access to a cable TV station, and we were able to iron out a lot of the bugs in terms of the hardware design and software design as well. We quickly found out, however, that the business model didn't work in an analog system because the cost of buying an analog satellite transponder was prohibitive. So we had to move on and adapt and design a digital version of our network, which we achieved about a year ago, and tested that out again in the Philippines on cable TV network, and watched the reaction of audiences, which was favorable. In December last year, we made a strategic alliance with Shin Satellite Corporation, and we are now broadcasting this electronic program guide on Thaicom 3 satellite 24 hours a day. We have a data entry facility in the Philippines where we have Philippine staff who are keying in program listings which they collect from currently 117 television stations throughout Asia and Africa, including Doordarshan and all the regional television channels you have in this country. At Civic Bay, they insert this data. They get all the data in by fax, phone, courier, you name it, and then edit it into a format which is suitable for our presentation. That's then sent interested enough by the internet to Bangkok to the Shin satellite uplink, and then broadcast on transponder 3G free to air. To receive this signal, cable TV operators need to acquire a satellite, an information television channel IRD and decoder, which is managed by the company, which then allows them to decode the signal coming off air and then to customize it for their particular TV station. Behind me, we've got here this is what the cable TV customer sees. It's a passive channel. It is not interactive, and therefore it's, to quote a commonly used phrase, it's a no-brainer. In other words, the customer only has to look at his channel, wait until the channels come round and see which channel he wants to watch. There's 90 minutes to view at any one time, so every 30 minutes, in fact in 9 minutes time, as this recorded picture will show, the clocks at the top will change from 4:30, 5 and 5:30 to 5, 5:30 and 6 o'clock. Now this presentation has been tried and tested in the US. It is very easy to look at, very clear. It just gives 1.5 hours to view. To try and present a much longer and forward-looking list of programs would clutter the screen up too much and make it, very difficult to read. So any time a viewer switches on the TV set, goes to this particular channel and looks at the listings, he only has to wait maybe 1 or 2 minutes to see what's on now and what's on in the next 1.5 hours. Now, for the cable viewer, for the cable operator, there are many benefits from having this particular channel. One is that the cable operator can configure the channel so that it reflects exactly what channels he is distributing to his customers. On the left-hand side, you'll see there arbitrarily we have got channel numbers, which represent the modulator numbers for a particular channel. When the cable operator receives the equipment from us, he can use a keyboard connected to the decoder, which he will then be able to configure all the channels to whichever modulators he's on. For example, we have Discovery in channel 46 there. In a local operator's scenario, he may be on channel 22, so he can go in and configure it. He can delete channels which he doesn't take down on his particular cable network. We're currently putting out 117 channels, which is more than we've seen in India. We're putting out channels for China, for Philippines, many other countries. He goes through and maybe deletes those he doesn't want, and then maps those channels he wants to take to his local modulator. He also can change the time. We can operate in any time zone. He changes the time to whichever time zone he is in. For example, India, we are GMT plus 5.5 hours. The time is very accurate. It's another hook for getting viewers to watch the channel. If the operator is playing out some local channels from a VCR, he can use a keyboard to insert those onto this attractive display. So if he's putting out a local film or he's got something from the studio, he can add that in too. And then additionally, he can use this ticker at the bottom to earn money from local advertising. Again, using the keyboard attached to the ITC decoder, he can key in local advertising. In the Philippines, where we've been running now for some months with a number of cable operators, they're able to earn between $10 and $20 a day from keying in local advertising. Our company is offering this service free of charge to cable operators. The combined cost of equipment for the ITC decoder and IRD is less than $600. We are planning to seed this market with several hundred decoders and IRDs free of charge to large cable operators, obviously to get critical mass in India, because we earn our revenue from selling this quarter screen here, video, to television companies, international companies. Currently, you'll see we're running Indian promos here because we're at the trade show, but typically we are broadcasting trailers for HBO, Discovery, Cinemax, and many other television companies who we charge a fee to for getting these out in front of the viewers. We also put in text advertising as well. We're going to connect this to the internet, the text portal screen, so that in the future it will be possible advertising through the internet directly onto television using a credit card. We will be censoring, of course, what text goes out there, so we can't allow people to go on and obviously say put in text which would be objectionable. So that's how it's going to be operating in the future. We're going to launch the service officially in India on April the 2nd next year. In the meantime, we are in discussions with a representative company in Bombay who's going to represent us in terms of distribution of this equipment and also marketing the advertising.
Well, I'm very grateful to all the speakers all this morning, before tea and now, for excellent presentation. My apologies to the speakers for having to get all of them to try and accelerate given time constraints. There's little option. But I do hope that those of you who will be listening to them, if you have questions which are yet unanswered, you can sort of buttonhole them in the lobbies at dinner or lunch or wherever and ask them more questions. I found this very, very useful. I do wish we had more time to go through more elaborate understanding and discussions. But this is all the same been very, very useful, and I want to thank all our speakers. I want to thank all of you for the interest you've shown and for the questions and discussion that we had. And thank you.
I'd like to present the mentors to Mr. Waterson and Dr. Benson. On behalf of Mr. Prem Behel and Exhibitions India, I'd like to thank Mr. Karnik for taking time out of his busy schedule and chairing our sessions this morning. Thank you very much.